The less you try to force your way through life, the more apparent your natural skills and gifts will become, the more satisfying a life experience I imagine you will have. If this video found you on some level, you're ready to stop pushing. You're ready to stop trying to force life to turn out a certain way. And you are ready to live in a fulfilling, deliberate way, whatever that means and looks like for you. I'm Danielle Lynn. I have conversations with creators, alchemists at play, magicians, teachers, and just rad people such as yourself. And in today's video conversation, I perceive that you're complete with a way of living that has felt force-based, a way of living in which you've had to convince yourself to be or show up a certain way to get the things that you think you've wanted. And instead, today, you're going to tune in to what it is you truly want, to, at the very least, the current now step, the current place of focus that you can tune into to give your body, mind, spirit, energy, a sense of natural ease that comes with being a deliberate creator at play, that comes with being someone who can truly inspire magic in their own life and experience the realities they want to experience without necessarily having to, first I have to build this much stuff or have this much money or do this or do that. Not from my perspective. From my perspective, wherever we find you right here, right now, contains within it the seed, the essence, the resource of all it is you need to take the next deliberate step from here, and then the next, and the next, with the kind of empowerment and satisfaction you most want. Now, at this moment, I am not going to claim to know everything about the specifics of your life circumstance. What I will say is that if you found this video, if you're watching to at least this point, you have within you and around you everything you need to make a step of empowerment in your life. The reason this is important to highlight is that without dismissing the challenges or trials or tribulations or experiences of your life, we can acknowledge all of them. I'm going to invite you, if it feels good, just for now. You can always pick them up later, but just for now. Let's breathe in, if it feels good. On the out breath, imagine you're putting all those things in a bit of a package. And just for right now, we're going to set them aside. Like I said, we can come back to it later. For this moment, you can give yourself the gift of clarity. And with that gift of clarity, whatever you choose to do with this, with anything else that you have, you'll be able to choose with more ease and without creating more of this, unless you want to. Now, every story and experience we have in our life is something that on one form or another, on one level of awareness or another, we thought would be of service to ourselves, even the really intense ones. I say this as someone who has lived out some very intense storylines that at the time of living them, I certainly had a lot of words to say on why. And I'm certain anyone tuning in here has had some form or another of intense experience, whether you're living that right now or you have at some point in your life. You don't generally arrive at this point of awareness without having some real low lows and real high highs. And part of that is whenever we give ourselves the permission to experience something, we are by the same token giving ourselves permission to experience the other side of it. So when we give ourselves permission to experience low lows, we are also expanding the capacity to experience high highs. The thing is, sometimes we can get really wrapped up in the momentum of one swing of the pendulum or the other. And so, if you're watching this video, some of the perspective that's going to be shared here may be of assistance for you if you are ready to complete a certain cycle or perpetuated story in your life. So, I'm going to offer this to you. This is going to be around any attachment you have to a challenge or situation that might be going on in your life. I say that because oftentimes that's where our energy will congregate until or unless we work with our energy in ways in which we're applying the primary focus towards what excites us. Then sometimes we inevitably find it around attempting to resolve challenges. We chew on them a little bit, like Rubik's Cubes, because on some level we believe if we give it focus and we resolve it, then we believe that it will be complete and not come back. In some ways, we believe that by focusing on the problem or challenge, we can somehow heal the pain within ourselves. Here is what I have found. And this is a very simple formula. Anything you want to perpetuate in your life, give it your focus. Give it your attention. Ruminate on it. Stew in it. Really think about it. Consider all the angles. Play it out in your head. Dress up like characters and act it out. Whatever we focus on is what we amplify in our world. Now, if you want something to shift in your reality, but you want it to truly shift, not from a place of ignoring it, not from a place of running away from it, not from a place of attempting to cover it up, here's what I have done. I have given it the precise amount of energy and focus is needed for me to be in awareness and me to make a new choice. Here's how it often looks for me. And perhaps there'll be something similar here for you. So if I have a certain problem, let's say it's a challenge with another person. Let's say I'm having a conflict with another person. One of the first things that I do is I acknowledge my feelings about it. I don't attempt to override them. I don't attempt to say I should be the bigger person, this or that. And this is assuming, by the way, that I am bringing myself into a space where I can focus. So if you're dealing with another person, this is presuming you have stepped away, you're in your own space, and you are ruminating on this. So one of the first things I do is I give myself permission to feel my feelings about the situation without judging them, without steamrolling them, without attempting to apply a sense of, you should be holier than this. Just honest feeling. Now, while I am doing this, I observe how much I am placing that feeling towards the other person. If I was to think, well, this person should do this, or how dare this person do that or this, then I might bring myself to notice that. In the more recent years, my mind doesn't work this way, but I am sharing with you how this has been in the past and how you might connect with it. Again, without judging myself, I observe how often I assign anger or blame or energy towards the other person because on some level, when I'm doing that, I am saying in another way, in order for me to feel whole or good or proper, this other person needs to behave a different way. So I am not saying that anymore. Instead, what I am doing is I am observing my feelings, I am tracking them. And once they are complete, once they have been shared with me, this is with me. Once me and myself have observed them, I say, thank you. Thank you for being so honest and open. I celebrate that, and I celebrate you. And then, as I'm sitting with that part of myself, I then say, all right, so what part of this is important to me? Why do I feel these ways? And this is where I give myself permission to be clear on why the situation inspired such feelings in me, because it doesn't actually have to do with the other person. Any external response that has triggered something within me has to do with a system or pattern that I feel within myself. Now, to be clear, this is not talking about whether or not the other person did something proper or improper. None of that is my business. They stepped in as an experience that highlighted something within me. And right now, we're only focusing on what is within ourselves, because that gives us a clear pattern or mapping as to why we even had a contact or conflict with this person or situation to begin with. Because in my own experience, as I have transmuted those patterns within myself, if I ever came across a similar person again, it's like oil and water. There's nothing there for them to connect with within me, because that patterning doesn't exist anymore. So it would be like someone saying something to me and I'm like, well, that's an interesting thing to say. And then I move on. I don't need to engage or attack or feel or this or that, because there's nothing within me to do that with. And so what's interesting is a lot of times when we experience conflicts with others or situations and such, and we overassign, oh, the other person should or should not be this way, we may be missing the opportunity highlighted to say, well, why is this responded to within me anyway? Because when we do that, instead of needing to change every single person that responds this way, we instead free ourselves from being reactive to this stimuli. And as such, it's no longer our responsibility. And in doing that and being that, I have found when there is certain energies that want to interact in a very way, and you don't respond to them, not one way or another, you're not attempting to do anything to them, they often diffuse because there's nothing there to grasp onto. And interestingly enough, in doing so, there becomes less and less places for this energy to react to, and it itself has more and more opportunities to turn inward and go through a similar transformation that you just did. Interesting, huh? And so, in this way, when we allow ourselves to be present with an experience instead of being reactive to it, through our own inner exploration, we transmute patterning and start finding ourselves in entirely different situations. Not because these don't exist universally anymore, but because we don't connect and focus and engage with them. We're no longer perpetuating them in our reality, and therefore we are instead finding ourselves focusing in the energy perpetuating in ways that we so choose. And if and when challenges emerge, we can observe them without getting entangled in them, without attempting to hide or ignore or avoid. We can observe without getting entangled, and observation without entanglement is empowerment. It's the ability to stand within yourself regardless of what happens in the world, and without needing the entire world to change in order for you to be stable within yourself. You are able to, therefore, in an ironic sense, be a transforming agent in the world you interact with, because suddenly things meet you, situations meet you, experiences meet you, and have an entirely new experience. We are all really just coming home to ourselves. And it's my perspective that every single one of us is inbuilt for this type of empowerment. And the less that we give our energy to trying to fix the outer world one problem and one challenge at a time, And the more we receive that information from a place of, oh, if something is stirring within me, I'm observing, I'm being present with it, and I'm being curious. What's up? What's up? Ah, interesting shift. The more then we have energy freed up to place it towards the curiosity, experiences, and people we really, really, really want to amplify in our life and world. So now back to our bag here of stuff that we breathed out. The stories, the experiences. This is your opportunity, whatever this was. This is your opportunity to explore the stories and this experience from a new way. Yes, we acknowledge you may have feelings about it. We acknowledge this may have been intense, painful. Remember, we're not condoning or attacking any of the other situations or players here. The most important part here is you, your feelings, your responses, all these things, because these are the things that you have power with. And in being aware of those, being honest within yourself, being curious, being there for yourself, you will naturally disentangle from this situation. And a byproduct of that is discernment. The ability to see something without being completely embroiled in it. The gift is discernment. What discernment does is it allows you to choose between situations, experiences, people's opportunities that are a yes and a no for you from a place of inner empowerment, being the reality creator you are and dreaming up this amazing experience that you find yourself in. Where right now, we're having a fabulous conversation, and I, for one, am loving it. And so, as you, once we are complete here, bring this story back in to evaluate, I invite you to be both very honest with yourself. Observe any time you point outside of yourself. Just observe. There's no shame, blame, or guilt. And you ask yourself, okay, what is this triggering a response in me, and what do I need to believe in order to feel disempowered about this? What belief am I holding on? What do I believe needs to be true in order for this to be disempowering? And this may give you some of the first steps and indications of where you have opportunity to reclaim and reconnect with the power within you. Because anytime we act from disempowerment, in my experience, we are just perpetuating an outdated belief from childhood, from the subconscious mind, from some part of ourselves that we can really love and we can integrate. And as we do, we remember that no matter what comes into our lives, we always have the power of focus, of flexibility, of humor, of curiosity, and nothing is truly greater than our spirit and our being. And so, my friend, with that, at the time of making this video, the doors for the Alchemy Lab are opening. It would be an honor to connect with you there. This is a curated membership experience in which myself and other community members will join. We will have regular calls. There are some trainings, some walkthroughs to help take you through a deeper process of being a deliberate reality creator. And I see it as an amplifier of synchronicity, of empowerment, and of us all creating and living the reality we most truly want. So please feel inspired as it feels good to you to check that out. I will have other descriptions, links, have other resources in the description that also have links. We have all the things. And if you have found this enjoyable, helpful, please do like, share, subscribe, and share with us any comments that might be of inspiration. And so for now, I look forward to our next conversation.